Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to a cozy rainy evening here in my home. Today I will be cutting some of that basil from my garden bed to make some pesto, making a fun appetizer, and then I'll be sharing the recipe to my new favorite baked good that I will be making for the rest of my life. If you're new here, my name is Kristin. I love sharing all things homemaking here on my channel. I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button to join my community. And if you're returning, welcome back. All right, so let's jump into today's video. The first thing I'm doing before a huge rainstorm comes through is picking some of that basil from my little garden bed out here. I'm gonna make some pesto today, and for all of my gardeners out there, I have to ask you, I'm sure that this is not the Italian basil that I used to grow when I lived in New York. I usually start basil from seed, but I bought these little basil plants when they were very young, and the tag said that they were Italian basil. But to me, they look more like Thai basil. But you know, I'm sure there are many different varieties of Italian basil. But for my expert gardeners out there, what kind of basil is this? It's definitely not as sweet as like that rounded, store-bought basil. But I'm making pesto today, and the pesto does come out delicious. But anyway, we're heading inside, and before I get started on that pesto, I'm going to make the dough for the dessert that I'm making today. I will be finishing it in the end of today's video, but the dough needs to be chilled for a few hours. So I have to start with that. The dessert I am making is a blueberry cream cheese pastry. And guys, you are not going to want to miss this recipe. I'm telling you, I will be making this like every weekend from now until forever. It's that good.
Degrees and sunny, just the way I always wanted. 더바랄까 또 없어 지금 이대로면 좋아.
Okay, so the first thing I'm doing for this dough is I'm adding 2 1/4 teaspoons of quick rise dry yeast into a large bowl, and then I will be adding a 1/4 cup of warm water and then a 1/4 cup of sugar, mixing that all together, and I'll end up throwing a towel over that, letting that sit for a good 10 minutes to let that yeast bubble up. And then in a separate bowl, I'm mixing 1 egg, a 1/2 cup of milk, and a 1/3 cup of sugar, and I will let that bowl sit there and rest as well. I will be adding these 2 bowls together, but meanwhile, I'm going to, in my Vitamix blender, add 2.5 cups of flour and 14 tablespoons of cold chopped cubed butter. So you're supposed to use a food processor. I don't have a food processor anymore. That mine broke, so I just use my Vitamix for everything. But you're going to go ahead and pulse the butter and flour together until it's all combined, and pour it into a separate bowl. And then I'm going to use my hands to kind of finish mixing it together, make sure it's nice and crumbly. This is going to be a very buttery crust. And remember, clean hands are one of the best tools in the kitchen. So after a good 10 minutes or so, I'm going to combine the 2 bowls of liquid that we have into 1 bowl, whisk that together, and then I'm going to slowly add that flour mixture in there until it becomes a nice thick dough. And then I'm just going to top it with a couple more little sprinkles of flour before I pack it away in a bowl. I'm going to just put a lid on it and chill it in the refrigerator for a good 3 to 4 hours. All right, guys, so next I am making the most simple appetizer for my husband and I don't know why this is so good, but it's like the most delicious little appetizer in the world. So basically you take salami, and in the middle you just put some mozzarella cheese, a half of a cherry tomato, and a banana pepper. You roll it up, and then I'm going to assemble it on a little tray, and then you finish it off with just a little bit of dressing, just a little mixture of olive oil, balsamic, salt, and pepper. Just do a little drizzle over the top. And I've made these before, and I don't know what it is, but my husband and I are obsessed with these little salami rolls, and we just can't stop eating them. This little plate that I made was not enough. We could have eaten more. I love anything with a good banana pepper in it. But anyway, we're going to have this appetizer with a little bit of wine out on the patio. The kids are going to have some pasta. It's a rainy, gloomy night, but we're going to have some fun playing cards with my kids and enjoy this evening together. And then next up, we will get started on that pesto.
Couldn't sleep last night, my mind was somewhere else, and I tried not to wake you up from dreaming. How do I tell you that it's all because of us I'm awake, and because of what I'm feeling. And that love's a fooling game. I don't want you to be crying tears of pain, even though it feels like I'm close to you, but still so far away. I kiss you, but not in the same way. Tell you how it happened when things started to change, and I'm not sure of what I'm saying.
All right, so next in my Vitamix blender, I'm adding 2 cups of the fresh garden basil, and then I'm going to add 2 whole cloves of garlic in there, and I'm going to slowly blend it all together and add about 1/4 cup of olive oil. I'm just going to blend it up in my Vitamix here, and then I'm going to add probably 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. I didn't measure this because I was grating it in as I went. And then I am going to squeeze maybe just like a tablespoon of lemon in at the very end to give it a little citrus. But I am not adding any nuts to this. I know most pesto recipes call for pine nuts, but this is a nut-free pesto today. And this amount made 2 of those little small jam jars. And the flavor was so good. I could have added maybe another clove of garlic just because I do love garlic so much, but this pesto is so good with pasta or with chicken. I love pesto with goat cheese and chicken. So anyway, so nice to have some fresh garden pesto in the house. Next, I am making the cream filling for the pastry dessert. I am mixing together 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese and 1/4 cup of sugar. And then I will add 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg yolk. Just mix that all together in the mixer until it's nice and fluffy. And then last, I'm going to add probably about 1 tablespoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Mix that all together. I'm going to pop it in a container to put in the refrigerator to keep it nice and cool. And then I'm going to check my dough to see if it's ready. The pastry dough should be chilled for 3 to 4 hours. All right, so our dough is nice and chilled and ready. I'm just going to flour it up a bit and then we're going to roll it out. So the goal is to roll it into a big rectangle. I think ideally you want it to be like 12 inches by 8 inches. So a 12 by 8 rectangle. And then what you're going to do is cut about an inch into each end and then cut that top strip off on the bottom and on the top, as you can see. And then you're going to diagonally cut 1-inch strips all the way down each side, and that will be how you braid the pastry dish. And then we're going to add that delicious filling right into the center, and we're going to pop some blueberries on top, and then we're going to do our best to make a braid. I ended up having uneven sides, so you'll see I just ended up clipping off one of them at the very end, and you won't be able to tell once it's baked if it's perfect or not. But anyway, you're going to braid it, and then you're going to do an egg wash on top and then put it back in the refrigerator for another 15 minutes to chill. I don't know why, I don't make the rules. And then we are going to bake it at 400 degrees for 18 to 20 minutes. And I know this dessert is kind of tedious, but I promise you it is so worth it. All right, so the last thing that we're making is a little topping for the pastry. We are mixing together 2 tablespoons of milk, a little drizzle of vanilla, and then I'm just adding in powdered sugar until it becomes the consistency that I want, basically like a thin frosting ribbon that will go on top of this dessert. And guys, this was such a treat. I would even maybe call it breakfast. I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you got some good, cozy homemaking vibes. I have so many fun summer videos coming up, so stay tuned for that. And I'll see you next time.
Every day isn't shining like today. Beauty rising, I can say. I have seen mountain highs and some valleys. Yeah, I've shouldered some baggage, felt the weight of some burdens, carried shame, cried in pain, took the lies and put them on me. I will leave it at the altar, God. I leave it at the altar, God. I leave it at the altar, God.
I see the light shining on the stage. This is what I imagine every day.